friends, welcome back to Storytime. My name is Miss Amber. This is my dog Benny, and today we have a spooky story time for you. We are going to read The Perfect Pumpkin Pie by Denny's Cazet with permission from Simon & Schuster Publishing. But first, we got to sing an opening song. We're going to do something a little different today. If you're happy and you know it, then you know this song, but we're going to change the words to if you're spooky and you know it, okay? Sing along with me. If you're spooky and you know it, clap your hands. If you're spooky and you know it, clap your hands. If you're spooky and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're spooky and you know it, clap your hands. If you're spooky and you know it, wiggle your ears. Wiggle your ears. If you're spooky and you know it, wiggle your ears. Wiggle your ears. If you're spooky and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're spooky and you know it, wiggle your ears. Wiggle your ears. If you're spooky and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. If you're spooky and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. If you're spooky and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're spooky and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. Good job, friends. Now let's get started with our story time. This one is called The Perfect Pumpkin Pie by Denny's Cazet. It's one of my favorites. One Halloween night, wind stirred the leaves in the pumpkin patch outside the old Wilkerson house. Inside the house, old man Wilkerson sat waiting. "Hurry up," he grumbled. Mrs. Wilkerson took a pie out of the oven and set it down on the table. "About time," said the old man. He stared at the pie with his one good eye. It was a perfect pie, round and brown as toast. He said, "I does love a perfect pie." There's old man Wilkerson, waiting for his pie. Mrs. Wilkerson cut a slice of the pie and put it on a small plate. She held the steamy pie under Mr. Wilkerson's nose. "After we pass on," she said in her sweetest voice, "there will be no more pie." "Ha!" shouted the old man, grabbing the plate. "Then I ain't going." He stabbed the pie with his fork, but just as he raised it to his mouth, he froze. "Ack!" he gasped, and died. Died? Did you see that coming, Benny? That same night, by the light of the Halloween moon, Mrs. Wilkerson buried Mr. Wilkerson in the pumpkin patch. The next day, she put the house up for sale and moved away. She was never heard from again. Of course, no one ever heard from Mr. Wilkerson again either. He was, after all, dead. Or was he? Or was he? What do you think's going to happen, Benny? I don't know. One Halloween night, a few months after Jack and his grandmother had moved into the old Wilkerson house, something rose out of the pumpkin patch. "There," said Jack. "See it?" Grandma looked out the window. "Just a wisp of fog," she said. "It looks like a ghost," said Jack. "Now it's in the apple orchard." Grandma took off her pie off the windowsill and closed the window. "I think everyone loves a good pumpkin pie," she said. "It's coming this way," cried Jack. "Listen." The porch steps creaked and the screen door banged and an icy wind filled the kitchen. Do you see what he sees? Right there. What do you think that is? "It is a ghost," Jack gasped. "Pumpkins, pumpkins, pumpkin pie. I must have one before I die. It must be round and brown as toast, or I'll haunt this house a hungry ghost. It must be perfect, or a ghost I'll stay and haunt this house and never, ever go away." It's old man Wilkerson. Grandma put her hands on her hips. "Oh, stop all that moaning," she said to the ghost. "Sit down and have some pie." The ghost pointed at the pie. "That pie ain't perfect. It looks like paper mache. That pie's insulting to a pie gourmet. Why, if I was alive, I'd have a pie degree. I'd be a professor of pie with a PhD. I knows me pumpkins, so you's better comply and make me a perfect pumpkin pie." There's Grandma and Jack, and there's old man Wilkerson judging that pie. The ghost whirled and twirled through the kitchen. Pots fell from the cupboards. Dishes crashed to the floor. The screen door banged and the ghost vanished. Jack ran to the window. "He's gone." "He'll be back," said Grandma. "Aren't you afraid?" asked Jack. "Why?" said Grandma. "He's nothing but cold smoke. He's a ghostly fuss budget with an appetite for a good pie." "He didn't like your pie," said Jack. "Well, he better like the next one," said Grandma. "We'll show the old fuddy-duddy what a perfect pie is all about." "We'll make a fuddy-duddy pie," said Jack. "We'll show him." When the pie was baked, Grandma took it out of the oven and set it on the windowsill. "Look at that pie," she said. "It's round and brown as toast." Outside, a wisp of fog rose out of the pumpkin patch. "He's back," said Jack. "Listen." So there's him whirling and twirling away. And then they're going to make another pie. Maybe this one will be better. "Pumpkins, pumpkins, pumpkin pie. I must have one before I die. It must be round and brown as toast, or I'll haunt this house, a hungry ghost. It must be perfect, or a ghost I'll stay and haunt this house and never, ever go away." The porch steps creaked. The screen door banged and an icy wind filled the kitchen. "Don't you ever knock," said Grandma, cutting the pie. "Sit down." He poked the pie. He smelled the pie. He tasted the pie. "No," he moaned. "This pie ain't perfect. There's things a-missin'. Pay attention. Don't you listen? A pumpkin pie without whipped cream, it's enough to make a dead man scream. This pie is bland. It's underdone. Next time, please. More cinnamon." So it's missing cinnamon and whipped cream. I love whipped cream. The ghost whirled and twirled through the kitchen. Pots fell from the cupboard. Dishes crashed to the floor. The screen door banged and the ghost vanished. Grandma tasted the pie. "You know," she said, "it could use a tad more cinnamon." After Grandma and Jack cleaned up the kitchen, they made another pie. When the pie was baked, Grandma took it out of the oven and set it on the windowsill. Soon, a wisp of fog rose out of the pumpkin patch. "Pumpkins, pumpkins, pumpkin pie. I must have one before I die. It must be round and brown as—" Yeah, said Grandma, opening the screen door. "We've heard it all before. Sit down and have some pie." I think Grandma's a little fed up with old man Wilkerson. The ghost sat down. He looked at Jack. He looked at Grandma. He looked at the pie. His eye grew bigger than a ping pong ball. "Now that is a handsome pumpkin pie. Even I can see it with my ghostly eye. But looks ain't all. Taste the measure. It's the inside that counts. There's the pleasure. It's gotta be perfect, a perfect endeavor, or a ghost I'll stay and haunt you forever." So there's his eyeball, bigger than a ping pong ball. Maybe they'll get it right this time. The ghost stabbed the pie with a fork. He raised the piece to his mouth and ate it. Then he ate another and another. Soon the pie was gone. His eye grew as big as a basketball. The eye looked at Jack. The eye looked at Grandma. "Perfect," he moaned, and vanished. Jack and Grandma went to bed. Except for Grandma's snoring, the house was quiet. Outside, the apple orchard cast long black shadows in the light of the moon. The pumpkin patch was still. Mr. Wilkerson was quiet. He was, after all, dead. Really, really dead. Or was he? There he is with his big old eyeball. One Halloween night, Grandma took a pie out of the oven and set it on the windowsill. "I hope that's not pumpkin pie," said Jack. "Remember what happened last year?" "It's apple pie," said Grandma. "Pumpkin pies attract nothing but trouble." Jack put 2 plates on the table. Grandma took the warm pie off the windowsill. Something moved in the moonlight. A wisp of fog rose in the pumpkin patch. "Uh-oh," said Grandma. "Listen," said Jack. There they are. Who do you think's coming back? "Apples, apples, apple pie. I must have one before I die. It must be round and brown as toast, or I'll haunt this house, a hungry ghost. I must be perfect, or a ghost I'll stay and haunt this house and never, ever go away." There's old man Wilkerson climbing out. He sure does love pie. Grandma looked at Jack. Jack looked at Grandma. "I'll set another plate," said Jack. The end. And that was The Perfect Pumpkin Pie by Denny's Cazet. All right, friends, thank you for joining us for this special spooky story time. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to go to OCPL.org and check out some spooky books for yourself and put them on hold. We have a bunch of cool stuff, okay? See you next time. Don't forget to wear your mask. Bye-bye.